Hey guys, how's it going? Kane Train here, and today I'm going to be doing a deck profile on my PK Fire deck that I came first with at Locals. I also came second with this deck last week, and both tournaments got me an ULTI RAIGEKIS, so that was really cool. I've got two now. I'm not sure how the OTS packs work, but apparently I can pull two within the span of like 3 days, and they're super pretty, so that was really cool. But other than that, guys, I'm going to jump straight into the deck. I feel like Burning Abyss is still a really strong deck this format, and definitely a contender, so we're going to jump straight into it. To start off with the monsters, we run 3 Farfa and 3 Scum. This is very standard, I feel. The whole Burning Abyss lineup is very standard. For your one-offs, you run the 1 Libic, Alec, Sir, Cowcab, Barbar, and Graph. This is very standard, running one of each copy. Depending on the state of the game, depends which one that you will need the effects of. So running 2 copies of some of these, in theory, is good. You don't really need them, especially in the PK variation. In a pure BA deck, you could definitely think of pumping up the ratios on a few, but this is very standard and very consistent. Then for recruiter monsters, we run 3 Terratops, 1 Tactenborg, and the Tour Guide. This is pretty much just netting you a Dante turn 1. That's literally all it's in here for, or any rank 3 at all, but generally a Dante. And then for the Phantom Knights, I run the 1 Gloves, 2 Cloak, and 3 Boots. I feel like this is very standard still. 3, 2, 1. You want to see this one the most. This one's okay, and this one's very situational. They all search each other, so it's really good. This one searches the trap card, so you want this one the most. It can also special summon itself from the hand. So yeah, generally you don't want to see these together, so you don't run too many copies. So yeah, there's explanations as to why this ratio works, and if you want me to go through that, just comment down below and I'll get back to you. Onto spells, triple Twin Twister. This is very standard, because if you're playing into like a strike, it can completely stop your turn depending on what your hand is. So Twin Twist is really good. Plus you don't neg off it, you actually plus off it because of the Burning Abyss effects. Then I ran 1 Mask Change 2, 1 RAIGEKIS, and 1 Rhoda. So these are very standard. Rhoda just nets you any Phantom Knight card from your deck. Mask Change 2 was kind of a tech. I just put it in to make Dark Law because it shuts down a lot of my local meta, but you can cut it for something else. And RAIGEKIS is just to get rid of Floodgate monsters, because a lot of people just kind of make it unbreakable turn 1, so RAIGEKIS just kind of helps out. Onto traps, I ran triple Solemns and triple Fogblade. These actually kind of go hand in hand, because what happens is you search out the Fogblade off of the boots, and then you set a Solemn. And so they think that you set this because you searched it, and then against Pendulums they think, okay, he's got a Fogblade set, so I'm just going to Pendulum like 3 or 4 to push over the Fogblade because he can only deal with 1 monster, and then you strike them and it completely blows them out. So it's a really cool interaction. The 2 last traps I ran was triple Anti-Spell and 2 Wing Blast. So this is pretty self-explanatory with the Anti-Spell, because your Pendulum matchup is really bad, especially like if they can establish a board with Kieran. So you just run 3 of that, and you can start it out if it's bad in a different matchup. And then I ran Wing Blast because with this deck I always want to go first and just make Dantes or like make a Beatrice, and this is a really good protection card. It can also disrupt your opponent in the middle of their turn, or set them back a turn if you spin the right card. Especially if you hit like a Metal Foe's counter, they pretty much cry. So it's really good. Onto the extra deck, I run triple Dante. The reasoning to running 3 is because I side deck Pot of Acquisitiveness. And what happens is if your opponent cherries all your Dantes, and you only run 2, like if you only run 2 and you have this in your hand ready for the cherries, you can't activate it because it doesn't say up to 3, it's exactly 3. So by running 3, if they cherries you turn 1, it pretty much enables you to immediately just counteract that card and draw an extra card from your deck. So that's the reason I run it. Next up, double Levier. This is really strong. I was making 2 a lot in my previous build, but I'm probably going to cut it down to 1 now because I cut Allure of Darkness. With Allure, it kind of just like makes you expend resources you don't need to, and it kind of like, it can be bad, so I cut it from the deck and it's working 10 times better. So you don't really need the second Levier, but it definitely comes up. Then I run 1 Break Sword and 1 Nightmare Shock, so this is something I'll change up. I'm probably going to cut the Nightmare Shock for the second Break Sword because it does come up a lot. But over the weekend, like Nightmare Shock actually like enabled me to win games, so I'm going to have to tweak with the extra deck a lot because it is very tight. Then I run the Giga Brilliant and the Corbage. These are really powerful. I played so many rogue decks that would put things in defense position, and like this is just an answer to like any monster essentially. It's so powerful. And with Dante, like every time he attacks and goes to defense position, you essentially get your XYZ material back. So it's like a reoccurring spin, which is really strong. Then the last XYZs we run is 1 Rebellion Dragon, 1 F-Zero, and 1 Beatrice. So these are all pretty standard. The Rebellion Dragon is just to get the secondary effect off Break Sword. And F-Zero is just a really powerful card. Gets around Cosmos and all sorts of cards. Then we have the Dark Law, the Dante, and the Virgil. So the only reason that I run both of these is because of Dimension Barrier. I actually won because someone was going to destroy Beatrice. They flipped the Dimension Barrier, calling Fusions. So then I just summoned the Synchro, and because I had that body on board, they couldn't do anything. And then the next turn I just went off. So it's really good to have both. I don't know, I'm still playtesting with it, but it worked on the day, so I wasn't too worried. For the side deck, I ran 2 Vanity's Fiends. These win in like every single game too. I'm actually thinking of main decking them. I just don't like the idea of milling them. It just really sucks. But these are such a good drop. Like, this wins so many games by itself. Just having a 2400 body that can stop special summons is so powerful. Then I have the 1 Buster Dragon and the triple of Winter Cherries. I think Winter Cherries is still a really strong side card. Especially in Burning Abyss, being able to get rid of the cards that pretty much counteract your deck. Like Mythrilium as well. I'm probably going to put it back in here. I took it out for something else. But yeah, so triple Winter Cherries. Then double Jinzo. Jinzo is really good against Paleozoics, obviously. And your whole deck's floaters, so it's really like easy to get tribute fodder for him. Then triple Chaos Hunter. Chaos Hunter is just really good in the Burning Abyss matchup. A lot of people are actually main decking this, but I feel like it like fills up too much main deck slots, and you do mill it a lot. So it depends on player preference, but I prefer to side deck it. Then the last cards I ran was double Pot of Acquisitiveness, just to like counter the Cherries side in from your opponent, and then double Typhoon. I do main deck the NI spells, but game 2, if you beat the Metal Foes or any Pendulum, they're gonna want to go first, and then you just side in the Typhoons. Alright guys, so that's my deck profile. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you do have any questions about the deck or my ratios or any of my matchups or anything like that, make sure to leave a comment and I'll get back to you guys as soon as I can. Peace!